All right, hey, it's August 12th, bringing you a weekly Lake of the Ozarks fishing report. Lake level is 659.53, so it's pretty much still full at Summer Pool. Um, as far as water temperature, it's hovering in the low 80s right now. It's kind of dropped back down just a little bit. We'll call it 82 to 84. Um, a couple, I don't know if I want to call it cooler nights, um, but like this morning, it's definitely a little cooler, not quite so humid, but that'll bring that temperature down at night just a little bit. And if we don't get extremely hot during the day, it'll kind of keep it down just a little bit. But we're kind of getting, we're in mid-August. As we get towards the end of August, early September, we'll start having some cooler nights, and some of the lake will start to cool down considerably. When I say considerably, 5 to 8 degrees in some areas, and that'll really get the fish starting to move and feed a little more. That usually starts happening in the river arms or in the backs and the shallows of creeks. Current, they really haven't been pulling much current at all. 11, 1200 cubic foot was basically nothing. I have noticed, pretty much every day about, I don't know, it seems like, I don't know, from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock, sometime in there, they'll ramp it up, man. They'll run it, pretty good amount, 25, 35,000 cubic foot, which is a lot, especially this time of year. Pretty high demand for electric when it's hot, real hot all day long. There's a lot of businesses, a lot of things, and they'll ramp up that current. That'll kind of make that evening bite pretty good. Just because that's about the time they start ramping it up and running it, towards late afternoon in the early evenings, and that'll probably trigger some of these fish to feed a little bit, maybe out on main lake points or anywhere that's going to divert some current, even some bluff ends, things like that. Here this last couple weeks, man, I've been fishing pretty much everywhere. I've had trips all over the lake. It seems like numbers are good. Catching good numbers of bass, but the size has just not been there the last couple weeks. At least for us, I will get. I don't know. I've had some trips. We've had, I don't know, 30, 35 fish in 4 hours, which is really good. And then I've had a couple other trips. We might catch 5 in 4 hours. So, it's the different days, different areas of lake, different techniques, what you're going for. Numbers, you can go out and catch a lot of numbers compared to if you're fishing more for, say, we call them tournament fish. Anything over 3 pounds. You're lucky if you catch 5 to 6 of them keeper sized bass in a 6 to 8 hour time period. So just to kind of maybe gauge yourself if you're going out doing something like that, where you need to be to maybe compete in tournaments, or if you're doing the right thing, or if you're catching the right size. But I can tell you, if you're not catching big fish or a lot of big fish, it's pretty much the norm right now. This is the time of year. It can get pretty tough, pretty much everywhere. And a lot of that is just contributed to. There's a lot of shad starting to move around, and to me, there seem to be at least 2 weeks behind size-wise where they normally are this time of year. I mean, we're just seeing a ton of these little bitty, just 3/4 inch shad, where normally they're at least 2.5 inches by now. So I don't know what that's really hurting the fish or whatever, but it seems like some of those shad haven't just moved a whole lot or committed to the very backs or staying out on main lake, because you get out on main lake and you just see a ton of those little ones. You get about halfway back in some bigger creeks and you're seeing some shad too. And then every once in a while you pull in a creek or a certain day or certain time of day, you'll see some of them bigger shad. You're just not seeing a lot of them, and they're not real like every creek. Just it's kind of real spotty, So when I see those big shad in the backs, way in the backs, and they're consistently in the backs, that shallow bite seems to be the deal. Um, like I said, I've been out several times this last couple of weeks. Fished yesterday pretty hard. Denise and I fished again yesterday. Got the Bass and Bob's Summer Sizzler this weekend. We're going to fish that. Excited. That's always a fun tournament. Everybody that shows up for that is just in a kind of laid back, relaxed mode, and just having a good time. So if you don't have nothing going this weekend out of Red Oak Resort, Bass and Bob is putting on a Summer Sizzler. It's a 2-day tournament. It's from 6:30 to 2:30, and he'll be taking sign-ups early at Red Oak Ramp. If you know where Red Oak is, it's about the 33.5, 34-mile marker of the Osage, just below Hurricane Neck Bridge. So we'll be there to see what we can do. We'll catch a limit, but I can't tell you honestly if it's going to be a 9-pound limit or it's going to be 16, 17-pound limit. I really don't know. Right now, I'm leaning more towards that 10-pound limit from what I've seen the last few days. We tried really hard yesterday flipping. We flipped, we're flipping a Crocagator 1/4 ounce shaky pro head with the Magnum trick worm, Mag Finesse trick worm from Zoom, green pumpkin. You can see this one's just all ate up. Caught a lot of fish. I don't think we caught a fish over 3.5 pounds yesterday. Actually, Denise caught it on the same setup, but she was throwing the Mag Finesse worm. And it was a good solid 3 3/4. That was the best fish we seen all day. And we ran a lot of shallow stuff, midway to shallow, a lot of shallow flipping, because I know that's where some of the bigger fish, if you can find a few of them, that's probably where you're going to catch them. But we didn't catch the big ones yesterday. We caught several, a lot of them 14.5 to maybe 15 inches. Doing that, flipping a jig, flipping a 1/2 ounce Crocagator jig and brown purple scale. I really like that brown and purple scale this time of year. Just rigging it up with the Crocagator swamp bug. We just tear the legs off and use it as a trailer. It's got that single tail on it, and it'll really swim and move a lot of water along some of them docks when you're flipping them docks and you're really trying to get a reaction bite. Most of those bites are as that bait falls. We're only talking 4 foot of water or less. So as that bait enters the water and starts to fall, that's when they shoot out and grab it. So just be ready for a bite just right away after that bait enters the water. Another bait that's just starting, and I'll throw a lot in the fall just maybe to pick up fish, numbers fish, and then even some size. This is just that red eye shad, kind of in a chartreuse shad color. We were fishing a little bit stained water. We actually went in the Nangwas yesterday. Fished pretty hard in the Nangwas to see what was going on. I was up in the Nangwas earlier in the week. I went up the Big Nangwa all the way up past Bridal Cave. Not a whole lot different up there. Not a lot of shad presence for some reason. Water looked great. Fished a lot of good stuff, but just a lot of shorts still. But that red eye shad, that's something you can just kind of fan cast. You get towards the backs and just fan cast that thing all over, because you see a lot of shad. I'm just kind of panning around with the live scope everywhere, just kind of see where a concentration of fish are, or activity or movement, and the majority of it seems to be mid to 3/4 way back in these creeks, and you'll just see piles of shad, loads of them, working right down the center of these creeks. And when they get out there, they can be a little difficult to catch, but like something like a square bill or red eye shad or something can be a really good productive bait, because you're just fan casting, covering a lot of water, and that's kind of what it's all about. Covering a lot of water when you're just seeing shad everywhere, and you can see fish feeding on them. You can see them working around them. So might be something you try like that. A topwater bait early in the morning. Topwater's been still pretty good. If you get a cloudy overcast day, topwater can be really good. Like this I just throw this black, or there's a pearl The Berkeley Chapo, seems to be really good. If you notice on, like, say, the Whopper Plopper, it has a softer tail compared to the Chapo has a hard casted plastic tail, and it holds its shape a lot better and makes a lot more noise, a lot more commotion compared to like the Whopper Plopper. It tends to lose its you know shape after a while. If it gets real hot, that'll loosen up. Where compared to this one, will hold its shape. So the Chapo seems to work a little better as far as noise and holding its shape. There's several sizes of that. This is a little bit smaller one because their shad are so small. We're throwing that, getting a lot of bites on that. Another bait flipping quite a bit, and this is time I really like to throw it, either early spring or when we start getting more so into late August, early September. Mid-September is just the Crockett Gator Black 4-inch super salty flipping tube. That's just, I've got a 1/4 ounce tungsten weight, a number 4 wide gap Gamakatsu hook, and you know, you just see it fits perfectly in that tube. And the thing with the tube is it's real erratic. You know, it gets you a little more maybe just a reaction bite, just because the thing falls so erratic. It never falls the same twice. You pop it up real hard, and I don't like to peg my weight on tubes. I like that tube to go down to the bottom pretty quick, and then this tube just kind of free fall, you know, erratic, more natural, like a dying shad instead of straight to the bottom. You know, a lot of days you might really change that. Will get you more bites if your bait's just acting, you know, like I said, just a more natural fall, just kind of unpredictable compared to like a jig or maybe the shaky head. You know, you flip that shaky head in there, that on a shaky head, it goes straight to the bottom, you know, and that's more so when they're pretty aggressive and you flip it in and they'll shoot right out and grab that, compared to like if they're not overly aggressive, that tube might, you know, that weight goes to the bottom, that tube kind of spirals down, and it may get attention to a bass that maybe not be so aggressive or feeding up so hard. You know, so man, that's about on a bait. Main lake bite, there's still main lake bite points, drop offs, bluff ends, brush piles. Obviously brush piles have been really spotty at best. I mean, you can pull up some brush piles and catch 2 or 3 fish out of it, or you can run 8, 10, 12 brush piles and not get a bite. It's just the late summer. I ain't gonna call it early fall yet, but it's mid to late summer, and it's just the fish are so unpredictable and they're so spread out. There's some on main lake, there's some halfway back, there's some way in the backs. So it's just kind of difficult to put together a solid pattern and say, like I said, you know, you've probably heard me the last couple of weeks saying this is what I'm gonna run today. Today we're running this, you know, but you can't really say that this time of year. You just kind of got to jump around and catch fish where you can. Try to hope you fall on a pattern or an area where there's a concentration of bigger fish. You know, Denise and I were out yesterday, like I said. We're trying to put together a solid pattern to compete or win the Summer Sizzler, which you're going to need, you know, some pretty good fish. I'm going to predict it's going to take a 2-day total. I'm going to say 34 pounds. That's 17 a day. If you catch 17 a day, I'd say you'll probably win this. Now I may be off, you know, but I'm going to say that's pretty good. Right now I'm going to say average 5-foot limit right now. Average will probably be 12 to 14 pounds. Your average 14 to 16 is going to be above average to pretty good. And if you catch 16 to 18, that's an excellent day right now. So just kind of give you an idea of what I think size-wise, what's going on. Tomorrow our plan, we're going to go out and we're going to flip. We're going to throw some top water in the morning. Maybe get lucky and catch a couple good solid fish early. Cover a lot of water. We'll probably be main laking stuff like that. We'll probably try some bluff ends. See if we can't get some bites so it starts getting a little warmer, sun up, maybe a little more activity out there, and we're gonna go flip some shallow stuff. And same deal. See if we can't catch, flip up a couple good fish, and get us up there in a decent weight range. And then if we have to, we'll fall off. We'll back out on main lake dock stuff, and we'll finish out our limit like that. So and you can catch some decent fish out swimming docks, top water around docks, uh, uh, drop shot around docks. A really lightweight drop shot with a 4-inch worm of some sort. There's another deal on drop shot I've been throwing just because the shad are so prominent out there, and small shad. I got this little, I don't even know where I got these things, but I bought a bunch of them. I can't even tell you the brand of this thing, but it's a all blue soft bait. All right, and that's it. And this looks, I actually bought these for table rock, but I used them here quite a bit. You can see it's kind of a jointed side, looks like a little shad, and you put that on a little on a drop shot and drop that down and move it around. That looks just like these little shad they're feeding on. You can throw that real light drop shot weight, like an 1/8 ounce, with your number 1 hook, and throw it up past some docks and just let it sink down there 10, 12, 16 foot sometime, and pull it back up and let it fall, and that thing kind of swims, moves around. If there's an active feeding fish, he's going to grab that. You'll catch a ton of fish like that, but you will have to wade through a lot of smaller ones, but you will catch some good fish out there. So if things get really tough, a real light drop shot rig with a little bait similar to this, maybe a 4-inch worm, 4-inch robo worm, 4-inch zoom worm, chopper, whatever, or even like I said before, I'll put a crocodile ring crawl on the drop shot. That little finesse looking bait will catch you a lot of fish too. Like I said, that's good for numbers. But as long as you can catch numbers and catching some decent size in your round fish, your odds are going to increase. You're going to catch a good one. So you always got to keep yourself focused, is what I say, by catching some fish and trying to read these fish and see if you can't do something to trigger some bigger fish, which might mean either throwing a bigger bait, like I had a spook up here. I was throwing a spook yesterday, and we were catching, it seemed like some little better solid fish, just throwing a spook along shady docks, either shallow, midway, out, it doesn't matter. You just kind of got to keep jumping around and trying different things to see what will get you a bite, a decent bite. But a bigger spook, worked along these docks sometimes will pull up a good decent fish. Well, here's the spook right here, but just a good old bone. You can see this one's about wore through on the sides from so many years. It's got one eye's in there, one eye's out. I mean, this old faithful here, this thing's been tore up by some fish, but it's usually pretty close. If you start seeing any kind of spooling fish or activity fish, obviously just throw over there with a top water or jig or something. Just throw in it where all that activity is. And if you can get that bait to fall down through the shad and through the smaller aggressive fish, that's where the bigger ones are. On the live scope, you can kind of pan around. You'll see it looks like catfish under there, but a lot of them are good sized bass too. So I know I went through a lot of stuff here, but that's kind of how it is right now. You just got to cover a lot of water, find something that's working, and try to stick with it for a little bit. If you're not catching fish, or you're not catching the size, maybe switch it up, switch an area of the lake. Maybe run 6, 8, 10, 12 miles down or up the lake. Maybe try little pockets. Maybe try back in the creeks. Maybe try a main lake. You just kind of got to jump around and see which fish, for whatever reason, are a little more active on any given day. So, boy, it's slowing down a little bit down here. We still got a lot of traffic down here, a lot of people coming down, enjoying the lake on the weekends. It used to start, late Friday night. Now it starts late Wednesday night. Thursdays get busy. Friday's really busy, So this weekend, I think the weather's supposed to be pretty good. I don't know, upper 80s, lower 90s. So it's going to be comfortable. Still warm. The lake will be busy. Around town, the restaurant, everything will be busy. But you'll notice it's the Ozarks. So you get down here, everybody's in pretty good mood, just kind of trying to relax and enjoy life like we all need to. So, like I said, if you don't have anything to do, come fish Bass and Bob over there, Summer Sizzler at Red Oak. You can get on bassandbob.com and find out all the details about that. But very least, it'll be a good time. I mentioned something about if we're not catching enough fish and we're going to back out and catch some small ones, or not small ones, smaller keepers, we may end up culling bigger fish to cull down to the lightest 5 fish limit. Thing about Bass and Bob tournament, a lot of times he tries to do something to get everyone a little money or allow you to get paid. So he has the deal. It's the lowest 5 fish limit for 2 days in a row. So it would be 10 fish, 10 keepers that weigh the least amount for a limit. So he's obviously going to give away money for the 10 biggest fish for the weekend, but then he's also going to give away some money for the 10 smallest keepers. So we've done it before if we have to. It's not really your goal or what you want to do, but I don't know, if it's getting late in the afternoon and we got 12, maybe 13 pounds, don't be surprised if we start chucking back 2 3/4 3-pounders and replacing them with 12.5-inch Kentucky or a little skinny keeper largemouth, just so we get in the check line. But sometimes that can be fun because that's like the last hour of the day. You just start running a lot of stuff and just catching little keepers, just to make it fun. So either way, we're gonna have a good time. If you get down and fish it, you'll have a good time. But either way, if you're just coming down and fish, maybe try some of the things we've talked about here. And like I said, if we can help you in any way, give Denise or I a call, at jamesdaleguideservice.com. You can look us up on, just give us a call. It's probably the easiest, or text us, 573-204-9005 for me, or 314-226-3099 for Denise. Either one, just shoot us a text, give us a call. Any questions or whatever, like always, if we can help you while you're down here at the lake with whatever it is, feel free to give us a call. If you're down here, you have any issues with your boats, no matter what it is, Sport World Boat Center over here in Sunrise Beach, they'll be there. They're there all day today. They'll be there on Saturdays, and if they can keep you on the water, get you back on the water anyway, I promise you they will do what they can to take care of you and keep you on the water. So, boy, until things start changing here, I'm hoping within in 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, we'll really start seeing a big change, and I'll be able to tell you something a little different than kind of a broken record here the last few weeks. Kind of seems kind of the same thing, but that's just what we get in the summertime. But either way, get out on the water, enjoy it, get down to the lake and enjoy yourselves. But until a week or so, I'll give you another report, and take care.